Hi, everyone. On behalf of Prairie Naturals and Healthy Planet, thank you very much for joining us for this webinar on men's health, positive aging, and sexual health for men. I'm Rosemary Pierce. I'm the Educational Director and Senior Technical Advisor for Prairie Naturals. And I'm happy to be here with you today. This is a very exciting subject for us. We have a big focus on men's health, especially as we move towards Men's Health Awareness Month. Prairie is very proud to be connected with such retailers as Healthy Planet to really focus on this month. And I'll explain some of the ways in which we're doing this as we move through this training. So let's take a look at men's aging and how they really do age different than females. There are gender differences on longevity, health, and aging, and also stats since 2000 have indicated that women across the board, everywhere, outlive men. So there are particular early onset conditions such as cardiovascular disease, neurodegenerative diseases, that would be dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, prostate issues with prostate cancer and BPH, which we'll look at in more detail, benign prostatic hyperplasia in men, and then men dying at higher rates than women from, first of all, heart disease. It's not until postmenopause that equals out. Diabetes, liver conditions, and cancer. So men's health obviously is important, and men have special needs, but they prioritize life's responsibilities, such as being the provider, being manly, which create barriers and keep really us from men from focusing and on their health. They're more important with increasing their performance, but it's important for men to start early in life, protecting their heart and circulatory condition. This is one area that we'll be joining with our men's products, is our cardiac healthy heart section. And of course, what I'm going to talk about today is the sex and the stress hormones and how can we work with those. And there are other age
unknown caller.
I am sorry. I've just gotten an unexpected call. So there's just maybe a little issue. And so I'm just going to see if by some chance this is not being videotaped and recorded. Okay, so something might have gone awry here, so I'm going to close down my PowerPoint and go back and see things are recording. I'm signed in. I'm just checking in with the powers to be. So I'm just going to stop recording for a minute. Hello, everyone. I'm back. It looks as if there are participants coming in now. Some people couldn't get in. So I'm hoping they figured out the technology part of it, and I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint and continue because this is being recorded. Okay, so here we are. I'm back to sharing with you, and I am moving forward now because I shut the PowerPoint down. So we were just talking about how it's good for men to start early in life to protect their heart, their circulatory system, their sex and stress hormones, and things like their muscle mass. Muscle mass is a very bona fide marker for accelerated aging. So what we do know is and this is from the Canadian Men's Health Foundation, that 72% of men have unhealthy habits that put them in risk of these chronic diseases and conditions. Now, let's take a look at where the issues lie as far as the sex and stress hormones. That's the part that we're going to look at today. And that starts with understanding the role of testosterone, or T, as you'll see it written sometime, and how it affects men's health. Now, of course, testosterone is the main male sex hormone, androgen, and it makes up about 95% of the testosterone, and it's produced in the testes. So let's look at how testosterone controls and works in male health. So obviously it's necessary for the physical development, and that includes the reproductive system, developing the testes and penis and the prostate, and that occurs during puberty. But there's so many more ways in which testosterone affects the body. Secondary sex characteristics such as hair growth, voice deepening, muscle mass, and muscle strength. And it's testosterone that really makes the bone stronger in male. It develops not the inner bone structure, but the outer and thickness of the bones, making them strong and dense. Very necessary testosterone is for libido, or sex drive, and virility, and also healthy sperm count. And it affects a man's all over well-being and mood and behavior. So testosterone has a lot of needs within the male body. Remember, the male body produces a small amount of estrogen and a larger amount of testosterone. And the exact opposite is in the female body. So we're going to take just a little bit more of a look at the biomarkers of premature aging and how they correlate with low levels of testosterone. So these are present as they show up if a man has lost his libido, virility, has erectile dysfunction. By the way, with erectile dysfunction, you would think of cardiovascular disease, especially circulatory areas, such as clogged arteries. Then you'll see loss of muscle mass, strength, and bone density. Bone density you might not notice unless you were actually doing testing. But mood will change. Depression and anxiety will be more prevalent. Lack of sleep, insomnia, tired upon waking up. So these things can start to happen somewhere between 40 and 50, or maybe even after 50. For some men, it might be later, but if they do, then you would think low testosterone. Males might not associate their fatigue, loss of motivation and memory, and brain fog with their hormones. They would maybe think of frequent urination and night sweats as being, or the urination at least, as being connected to their prostate health. But night sweats, which means that the testosterone is dropped fast, they might not recognize as a hormonal issue. Now, the good news is that you can address this with just small changes. It doesn't have to be a drastic on the medical end. It's basically only what they offer is taking testosterone. But as you'll see as we go along, that might not be the ideal answer. But with preventative lifestyle choices, regular supplementation, and healthy daily habits, that means you can make these small changes and it be very beneficial. Starting early, though, is the key. So now we're going to go back to testosterone, which is the key to this male virility. And let's just look at how it works over the years. So it's highest teens and 20s. That's when it would peak, and then starts to decrease 1% after 30. Now, 20 some years ago, I started writing about estrogen. And as I was doing that, I was noticing that it was actually after 40. So after 40, estrogen started to drop. Now, 20 years later, they're saying it's dropping 1% per year after 30. And there's a lot more incidence of male infertility. So let's take a look at testosterone, because basically it comes in two forms, two major forms. And one of them, which is bound testosterone, represents 98%. Now, it can be bound to different carrier proteins in the blood. The free testosterone is only 2 to 3%, but this is the most bioavailable. The free testosterone. It's not bound to proteins, and it's active. Now, some of this bound can become active or is more active than others. So this is a simplification. The important thing is that it basically has to be free to be really biologically active. And we're going to take a look at the amount in the bloodstream versus age. And as you can see, at about the age of 25 to 30, there's a relative peak of, this is your total testosterone and this is your free. So they're pretty close, but as you see, the total testosterone drops a lot less than the free. And this is one of the things about aging. They're less available free testosterone in it, and this 350 nanograms per deciliter, this is the amount right here. Once you drop below that, testosterone does not have an effect. It's like anything above will work, will keep things working, anything below stops. So it isn't that you lose a percentage, you lose the effect of testosterone. Okay, so what we want to do is to raise this free testosterone. That's one of the things that can affect your libido, your erectile dysfunction, your virility. So let's take a look at how this loss happens. So the important factors that lower this free testosterone are its binding, and it binds to a protein that carries it in the bloodstream, and it's called SHBG, or sex hormone binding globulin. Testosterone also can get converted to estrogen. All of these hormones, sex hormones, stress hormones, are all very similar, and there are processes to convert them in the body. So testosterone can be converted to estrogen. Not such a good idea for males. This can happen in the adrenal glands, but in the fat cells. And it's that fluffy fat, like the little tire around the middle. There's an enzyme in these cells called aromatase, and that's what does the conversion. When aromatase converts testosterone to estrogen, fat cells increase and weight is gained. And then there's more fat cells produced, therefore more aromatase, more conversion, and it becomes a snowball effect. Remember, this is the fluffy fat, just under the skin. We sometimes call it subcutaneous fat, subcutaneous. Another enzyme is called 5-alpha reductase. Don't have to memorize this, but it's kind of important to know that there's another hormone. It's another androgen, another male sex hormone. There is a need for a small amount of it in the body, but it's quite a bit more potent than testosterone. And this enzyme can convert more of your testosterone into this dihydrotestosterone, or DHT. Now, DHT has some pretty interesting effects on a male body. It's responsible for male pattern baldness. In the young man, it could cause the acne. That tire can be part of that as well. So dihydrotestosterone, even though it's wouldn't be there if it wasn't necessary, it's when things get out of balance, and this enzyme converts too much testosterone into dihydro. It also is what's considered one of the key issues with the prostate enlargement. And so it's important that we do not let that conversion happen in excessive amounts. And that ability to keep this testosterone free starts to shut down with age. So that's one of the things that there's a direct correlation. So now let's take a look at what can cause low testosterone. Besides this conversion, these conversions, what would set it on that path of lowering the free testosterone? Well, it could be infections, viral infections, mump. It could be the removal of the testes, of course, cancer or trauma. It could be a genetic issue, an injury, possibility of medication. But the major thing are lifestyle factors. So, and these impact testosterone, and it's obesity or extra fat. It is also alcohol and smoking, poor diet, especially high in refined sugars. And I would really put fructose in there, carbohydrates, and the bad fats, like the fried chips and the omega-6 oils that we find, seed oils, and the frying oils. Also stress. Now, stress plays into this because it increases cortisol. Remember I said all these hormones are related together? Well, the stress, when there's a lot of stress, there'll be the stress hormone cortisol produced. But cortisol comes from the same base product, which is cholesterol and progesterone, that is used to make testosterone. So if you need to make cortisol as part of your stress hormone to deal with the stress episodes or chronic stress, you're going to stop the ability for those precursors, that cholesterol and progesterone, from becoming testosterone. So it's paying Peter, and poor Paul misses out in this case, if Paul was the testosterone. So lack of sleep and shift work. Lack of sleep, we're going to look at that because this is a big one. Also low vitamin D, and right along with that would be low vitamin K2. low vitamin Bs, magnesium, and zinc. These are your typical nutrients that are needed, but that we don't get enough of. We're really going to address the zinc and magnesium, and actually the Bs along with stress. And the vitamin D is something with K, a person should be adding extra beyond their multi. One thing that's really helpful, and that is to get nitric oxide. A lot of men would have known nitric oxide to increase their performance and energy during athletic events, but it can also be used to expand and contract the circulatory system. And these dietary nitrates will eventually turn into nitric oxide, this little neurotransmitter, and that affects the inside walls of your circulatory system and decrease blood pressure and increase oxygen getting to the cells. And where do we find them? Well, good sources in our diet are beets, beet greens, chard, arugula, these type of leafy greens with the beets. And I'd just like to bring Prairie Naturals Red Superfoods into focus because it contains 2 grams of organic beet powder, which is a very helpful addition along with using the vegetables every day. So you could stick this in your smoothie, or as I do, I add it into my green drink in the mornings. Let's take a look just for a minute at Prairie Naturals supporting the Canadian Men's Health Foundation. This particular foundation is a nonprofit organization that is providing so much information for males. I would highly suggest that if you have a male come in, also ask them to go look at the Men's Health Foundation.ca. We are very proud to be able to sponsor, to have Trevor Linden, which is a sponsor of the Canadian Men's Health Foundation and is also a health ambassador for Prairie Naturals. And of course, for those of you who don't know Trevor Linden, he had a 20-year NHL pro hockey career with the Canucks in BC. And he promotes, he is a spokesperson for us. Where I do the trainings, Trevor Linden is out there speaking about the Canadian Men's Health Foundation, and Prairie Naturals gives a percentage of their profits on the Men's Health line to the Canadian Men's Health Foundation. So together, that's a great team to again support the Canada's Men's Health Awareness Month. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at steps of improving health for men. So given that 70% of Canadian guides have 2 or more unhealthy habits and 80% of Canadians are stressed, I would suggest going to Canadian Health Foundation under this Don't Change Much. What they're trying to do with males is not overwhelm them, give them the idea that if it's consistent, you can support making changes that impact your health. And if you would like some tips from this organization, here are their key ones. Get active, eat healthier, lower your stress, sleep better, drink less, and that's drink less alcohol, drink more water, and quit smoking. These, if there's one of these that a male is not doing their best, then that would be the one to choose. And I would just like to say that Trevor Linden, who's been so great with us, is helping to get the word out about vitality at fitness at all ages. And within the Prairie line, here are the key health concerns that we're going to be addressing as we take a look at some of the products that Prairie Naturals has to offer, along with how they work. What's the key? Given that now we know that low testosterone and what causes it are the issue, then let's see how we can help prostate health, control cortisol levels, manage stress, help with low testosterone, and improve sex health, get healthier sleep, reunite the libido, and then take care of daily nutrition. So Prairie has 8 products, and we have this wonderful chart. If it becomes a bit confusing, I'm just going to really just highlight some of the features of these based on the dynamics and mechanisms that I explained to you. So, of course, at different ages, men could use a different one of these formulas. So hopefully this would be helpful. We're going to look at prostate first, and prostate health you might start thinking about in your 40s. It's usually not a young man's condition. But I'm going to bring up the hidden secrets behind Prosforce and how I use it and have and recommended it to younger males. So let's go take a look at Prosforce first. So Prosforce, of course, as it sounds, it's a prostate health supporting formula that has key nutrients and also phytochemical ingredients for the prostate. And it's actually become Canada's best-selling prostate formulas. And this was the beginning of our line that was developed some years ago, and it was developed to help weak urine flow, incomplete ability to void, day or nighttime urination, issues that a male can have with his urinary tract, and that can be caused from benign prostatic hyperplasia. Now, the hyperplasia, if you think what that means, it kind of means proliferation of cells, growth of cells. So what we're looking to do is to prevent this inflammatory process where the cells of the prostate are growing and putting pressure or blocking the urinary tract. So studies have shown that 50% of men have this issue starting between 51 and 60, but 90% of men suffer from it after 80. So this is, I'm just going to show you the formula. This is the prostate formula. And to me, it's really based on sapimento, pygium, and stinging nettle. These are your 3 key ingredients that work together. Oh, I'm just going to go back for a second because I can see so what these 3 key ingredients do is, first of all, they decrease the aromatase enzyme a bit that takes the testosterone and converts it to estrogen. So it reduces that ability. It also stops, along with zinc, and the zinc is 10 milligrams per soft gel capsule. Younger men would take 2, older men at 4. So what happens is that the zinc and the sapimento, pygium, and stinging nettle as a threesome really stop that conversion of testosterone over to dihydrotestosterone. So it decreases it, keeps it in a normal level, which then it would help with male pattern baldness, the acne, the little tire around the middle. The only thing I suggest is take the alcohol out, because alcohol will increase the amount of estrogen in a male body, because it blocks the body releasing and detoxifying alcohol. And so it usually takes, if you want to help especially that tire around the middle, is to use Prosforce twice a day with meals. Whenever you have a product based in a soft gel has fatty acids in it, then you need fat in your food to absorb it. So who would need it? Usually for prostate, it would be men over 40 or men trying to prevent prostate. But also sometimes men do take prostate formulas like Flomax as a drug. And to the best of my ability, I have not seen any contraindications or have heard of any in using the two of them together. It can help with more restful sleep because of fewer bathroom trips. So the other effects, remember, is it acts to protect your free testosterone. It tones and strengthens the male reproductive system. So I call it male tonic force. To me, whatever a male is doing, this along with a good multi would be the basis of supporting their sexual health. It decreases that aromatase enzyme and those estrogen levels. It helps to reduce the discomfort that's caused from BPH and improves the urinary health, of course. So the last ones are the prostate, but the first ones are general male support for their all over health. Okay, I want to move on to stress because Androforce is particularly set up with a trademarked raw material ashwagandha in therapeutic doses, along with some of the bees that cause issues, and a natural substance called DIM. Now, DIM is a product that eventually is transformed from having cruciferous vegetables, the cabbage, cauliflower, kale, even turnips, and also maca fits into this category. And in the stomach, the precursors are converted to DIM, which protects the body from bad estrogens and supports reducing estrogen dominance. And it does that for both males and females. Here's another great herb, rhodiola, and especially this 1% solidaricides that are very valuable. And again, you have that wonderful stinging nettle and pumpkin seed oil. So this is another gel cap and to be taken during the day. So you would use it for low energy, weight gain, increase in libido, and men under high stress, and those that are age 30 who want to improve their free testosterone. Because remember how I talked about testosterone can be converted to estrogen or the precursor to testosterone can be moved over and become cortisol, and therefore you don't get your testosterone developed. So that's how if you lower the cortisol levels, you use a cortisol blocker like Androforce, it can support the body in producing naturally more testosterone. So reduces stress, decreases high cortisol, increases the free testosterone, decreases this estrogen dominance, helps the all over energy, which is going to give more sex drive, mood lifting, reduces the body fat, and can help with weight loss. So if there's stress involved, Prosforce combined with Androforce would be a good combination. If a person is under a lot of stress all the time, they could be missing their beat. So we have a second stress formula called Stress Force, and it's to help alleviate the adrenal fatigue and support adrenal function by adding adrenal cortex, some rhodiola and tyrosine to also support the production of your the balance within your adrenal glands, and bioactive vitamin B. So this was our first bioactive vitamin B formula. And these Bs are all easily absorbed, already converted into their active forms, and therefore support the body in a much more direct way. Also, there's a small amount of magnesium and zinc, and the vitamin B3 is in the form of inositol hexanicotinate. So this is a form that quickly releases niacin, and niacin is really valuable for the health of your mitochondria. So the health of your mitochondria, supporting the adrenal glands, which use up Bs very quickly, replacing those can be really valuable because, for example, magnesium, B6, and zinc are very necessary for the production, just the natural production of testosterone. So who would need it? Anybody experiencing chronic stress, because if it's a short stress, the Bs are probably not going to be depleted. It's this ongoing chronic stress and mental fatigue where you need these Bs, and helps with sleep and low daytime energy, supports cognitive function, of course, helps also with healthy cortisol levels by just supporting the adrenal gland. Not a direct cortisol blocker, but it also functions to support the central stress response system. This is the HPA axis. This is between the brain and the adrenal glands, and how quickly we can go, uh-oh, there's a problem, shoot hormones over to the adrenal glands, which sets up the stress response. So it's very helpful for supporting that loop. All right, so if it's not stress that's the main issue, it might be vigor. And that's why we have Vigor Force. I often suggest Vigor Force if it's vitality and a boost to the energy and libido. Start with Pros Force and then add one like Vigor Force. So this is a balanced blend of therapeutic herbs to help boost the quality and quantity of male energy. So it's the Bulgaris, the Tribulus, Tribulus terrestris, along with again the Tonka alley, or Eurycoma longifolia. So it's really to me these two herbs with rhodiola that create, and this is a 50-1 extract that help to revitalize and give energy. Tonka alley has often been attributed to increasing testosterone. Unfortunately, we cannot state that at current, but I've looked at a lot of studies that have said it can increase testosterone. But for now, let's just think of increasing the health of our male reproductive system and support testosterone. So really, you could use this for men of all ages with erectile dysfunction, wanting more energy and vitality. So it boosts the male energy, nourishes and balances male hormones, increases blood flow to the penis, also helps to reduce stress, and also helps with BPH. Can't forget that. Now, let's say that sleep is the issue. So if a male is having trouble winding down and needs something to help him sleep, one of the things definitely is to take mag, and this is a form of zinc mag combination with a highly bioactive zinc and magnesium, B6, and holy basil. So this is what the formula looks like. And you take this one at night. The holy basil has ursolic acid. This can be used for women as well. And this is a type of a polyphenol, which is called a terpene saponin. And it's also good for inflammation. It has pain relieving analgesic effects and is a potent anti-arthritic. So besides taking it at night to get the zinc and magnesium and the sleep, remember zinc, magnesium, and zinc are the precursors to creating good production of testosterone. So who would need it? So those needing the building blocks to produce their testosterone, men wanting a supplement to take before they go to bed to increase their recovery, and athletes and students, anybody who are overworking. So repairs deficiencies of the zinc, magnesium, and zinc and B6, helps to improve testosterone production. It has immune function, also reduces the fatigue and sleeplessness. So it's very good for that. We have just a couple of other things that Prairie offers, and sometimes a male will not look at the tribulus tonkat alley combination, but will be drawn towards fenugreek. And fenugreek has, in an extract, has wonderful properties in supporting the male hormonal system. And if you combine it with tribulus, and again add some of that stinging nettle, this combination has been very helpful at 4 caps a day for men who suffer from low libido or erectile dysfunction. A lot of males find if Vigor Force doesn't work for them, it might be Test Force that supports their low testosterone and their stress. So it provides the nutrients to support testosterone production. There's magnesium B6, you might have noticed, and zinc in there. It also prevents the liver, who detoxifies and degrades testosterone, from breaking it down. It blocks the conversion of testosterone to estrogen. And what the fenugreek does is it increases free testosterone, which then binds to the androreceptor sites, which stimulates protein synthesis and growth and muscle cell and new muscle formation. So this would be the one for the man going to the gym who really would like to have the ability to build more muscle mass. So I'm going to wait and answer questions at the end. I'll take a look at that. So let me just close the questions for a second. So there's one other formula for the male who really would like to simplify, and or maybe is taking like their vitamin B's and zinc and magnesium separate, and that's a combination of tribulus with Panax ginseng. This is the Korean or hot ginseng. And at Prairie, we have basically a collaborative manufacturer who's also a specialist in certain herbal products with their extracts. And ginseng and also ginkgo are two of the ones they specialize in. And they have a lab, an HPLC lab on site, to be able to verify, first of all, if the ginseng is the right type, because ginseng and ginkgo as well are often contaminated or adulterated. And the 10% ginsenosides might come from another and less active form. but they can actually pick that up and guarantee that our Panax ginseng is pure, is the right species, and has this 10% ginsenoside. They do that with many of our standardized raw materials, but this one is a really specialty of theirs. So I always like pointing that out, given that there's higher amounts of Panax ginseng, and any of the ginsengs with the ginsenosides are checked for us for their quality and their purity. Now, ginsenosides are a saponin again, and they're structurally similar to steroids and sex hormones, and therefore they have hormone-like roles in especially the male body. Although they are used for females, I often think of this as being the hot ginseng, and tend to see it for males only. So men suffering from low libido and erectile dysfunction over 40, they want to increase their lean muscle mass. They just want a very simple, straight tribulus and ginseng formula. If they have cancer and take medications to lower their hormones, this can be helpful. Also, men who previously have taken steroids and want to support their body because they now realize they don't want to do that anymore. So it lowers stress, it decreases inflammation, improves blood flow, and can be used as a male tonic. So the only product I'd like to bring up, which I did slightly, and that is a multivitamin. I've done some research lately on longevity and the use of a good multivitamin over a period of time. Regular use of a multivitamin has been correlated to low cardiovascular risks and improved longevity. So at Prairie, we have a unique and very strongly pure multi. And this multi for men is considered for men because it's iron free. But both of our multis, our vegan multi and our multi-force for men, have most of all of our bioactive B complex in them, including B12, B6, and the methylfolate. So the MTH folate is really important because there are a lot of people cannot take the synthetic folic acid and convert it. Also, there's a fair amount of vitamin K2 in the MK2 7 form, and there's chelated and highly absorbable minerals. There are 12 different absorbable minerals and trace minerals. There's a small amount of betaine, HCl, and bromelain to help digestion. It's in a chlorella, spirulina, green food base, of course, non-GMO, gluten-free, and veggie caps. So to me, this multi, it's a 1 to 3 a day formula. You can take one with each meal, but even if you just took one a day, you would find great doses compared to your average one a day Centrum, for example. Okay, so men of all ages, especially those that are not getting their nutrients and who need iron-free. Most men need iron-free unless they happen to be lifelong vegans. That maybe needs a test. But most men, given that they're not generally losing blood monthly as females, then the iron-free formula is good for them. And postmenopausal women can take this formula. Men under high stress, it's the insurance that a multivitamin gives that things aren't being missed. It can improve energy. Obviously, it's antioxidant to support cell protection, and that's protection right at the mitochondria level, helps to combat stress. So that ends the product. I can, and I'd just like to say that it's a good idea for men to start thinking about their health earlier in their early age, 20s, not too late. And often it just takes awareness to help to get to the issues. And awareness is half of the solution. And then some of the vital steps for longevity, quality of life, and our sexual health can start to improve. So I'd like to thank you for bearing with me through this and for the interruption at the beginning. And I can see I have some questions, so I'm going to see if I can get to these and answer them. All right, I'll go start at the beginning. So there's a question: are there any side effects to these supplements? Of course, there could always be somebody that has a adverse reaction or an allergic reaction to any one of the ingredients. That's something that is obviously, especially with when they're taking a multi-formula, that to be sure that they do not contain anything that they react to. And also, of course, on every label, Health Canada makes us state sometimes how long they can be used, sometimes who should not take them, and then if there is anybody, and then also what to watch out for. So there is instructions on, and basically supplements are supposed to be self-explanatory, but it's really not. There are not large issues with these supplements as far as I said, you could take a Prosforce even with Flomax. There's no contraindications there. Another question from Greg is, can I combine all of these supplements? Is there a risk of taking too much? Personally, I try to sort it out just to show that combining one or two or maybe three could be ideal, but taking all 8 of them, I wouldn't suggest that. I would suggest having a base supplement such as Prosforce, and then adding one to see if that can support you with either your sleep or with your stress level. So hopefully I've sorted out enough that you can get to figuring out which one would be best. So here's somebody says, what is the difference between Tripforce and Testforce? Someone in their early 40s. So the Tripforce, of course, have the tribulus and the ginseng in it. So it's a very simplistic formula. It might be ideal for somebody in their 30s, where the Testforce has that fenugreek. And often a person would either go to Vigor Force or Testforce if they have low testosterone. So to me, the Prosforce would be ideal with either one of those. So remember, the trib is the simple combination for males. Okay, here's another anonymous question. Is there a percentage or amount one's testosterone level will increase by taking Tripforce? Actually, there really isn't on the formulas. There are not a set amount that I can say, oh yes, you're going to get this amount of increase. Mostly what you're looking for from supplements is an increase in vitality. So that might be because your free testosterone goes up, but your all over testosterone levels, which is often the only one that's measured by blood test, are not increased. But the amount of free that you have available increases, and therefore you can answer it. You can get a result without seeing a raise in testosterone, but and raise in the free testosterone. Okay. Yes, I did mention in this PowerPoint, we have two products that have ashwagandha, and the biggest one would be the Androforce for stress, and it has therapeutic doses at 1 to 2 capsules of a trademarked raw material called Sensoril, with 10% of the standardized actives in it. So yes, it would be I would go to the Androforce if you're looking for ashwagandha. Your slide 27 states that turquoise is for men over 40, but your website says that is for 20 and 30. Well, my apologies for that. I'm working with yes, I can't explain that one. I can refer that question back to Prairie so that they can take their flyer and combine it with their PowerPoint to be consistent. If we look at Trib Force, it's usually often a male that's had some hormonal support, especially has been on steroids. So often, if a male was at 20 or 30, I could see that could be a support. If they haven't happened to take steroids earlier in their search for more energy. I'm just reading the next one from Greg. So Greg is very interested in the Prairie products, given that there are so many products for testosterone supplements. Most of those products are through online suppliers, and I can understand your concern because oftentimes they are not vetted the way that we are when you're a legitimate company selling within the natural health industry. And we have to really meet the standards for our quality, our quality control, as well as quantities within our products. Our products are third party tested, and that's one of the reasons why you can trust a Canadian company that sells into Canada, that's a bricks and mortar, and that does not spike or adulterate their products. I tried to explain a little bit of that with Dr. Ma Labs, who does our manufacturing and also the testing and qualifies our standardized raw material based on the percentage that is been touted to be on a product. So as far as quality and quantity, I have no qualms about recommending Prairie. I'm really dubious about online sales, but if you're looking at the plethora of products, they're not on the Canadian market so much in health food stores or in the online Canadian retail stores. Mostly, I know you can see so much if you go online. And those I can't speak to because I don't know their testing methods and who's behind them. So somebody's asking, where do the ingredients come from? So one of the things as a formulator for Prairie that I'm always looking for is to get raw material that's coming from Canada. Ideally, we want it coming from Canada. Is that possible all the time? No. My next thing would be North America. So to find it in North America is to me a big bonus. Then Europe and Asia as a last resort. And there's just some of these raw materials that are not available in my key choices. So it's always to look for them. And then if we can't find them, to make sure that we're dealing with reputable suppliers that we test third party and we test in-house. So they're tested, sent before they come to Prairie, sent out for third party testing, and before they go into our manufacturing, they're tested for their active raw materials and contaminants and micro as well. So really, to say where they come from is it's not really a valid question, given that unfortunately we do not in North America, and especially in Canada, make enough of our raw materials. For example, we are forming a cranberry product, which is part of a UT urinary tract kit. And that cranberry is a Canadian manufactured and grown raw material, organic, no fillers. We were able to do that with cranberry, thank goodness. But you know that nobody else on the Canadian market, this is the largest cranberry grower in Canada, in the world, and exporter, and nobody is using their organic cranberry full spectrum extract powder in a product in Canada. So that's something that's always on my mind, and that I'm working with. But it's a little bit hard to find all of our products coming from Canada or North America. For example, our elderberry extract it's a European product. Okay, another question. For a man with high total testosterone but low free what would you suggest? I would suggest starting with Prosforce and using Prosforce at the full dose. Now, at Health Canada, they say twice a day. Depending on the age of a male, you might need more. As a man gets older, there might be necessary to have more. So it would be 2 twice a day. That's currently what my husband takes, who's up there in age now. So that would be, I would take that along, possibly, depending on whether there's a stress issue, combining with, or add a good multi in and see what happens after 3 months, and see if you raise your free testosterone. Okay, so I'm going for total testosterone testing in 2 weeks. My bodybuilding coach told me to also get checked for free and estradiol. Yes. What are your thoughts? Also, what books do you recommend on learning more about testosterone? I can't really suggest a book to you. Years ago, I used to have a couple of good books that I used to go into this subject, but things have moved and have increased so much. One of the things might be there's an article that I wrote, Male Menopause, Does It Exist?, which goes through and explains that. So you might go to my website, and let me see here, I can bring this up so that you could go into my articles on my Holistic-Pharmacist website, or to my link tree. That would get you there. And there is an article that a fairly extensive article that I wrote explaining a lot of this again, going through understanding it. So I agree with your health coach as far as getting your free testosterone and estradiol. Whether if you're getting blood testing, whether they will actually do that, I can't guarantee. You might have to move to saliva testing. So saliva testing for hormones is a lot more accurate. Okay, here's another question. Is there a level of supplemental testosterone that will not shut down a men's endogenous testosterone production? Well, that's quite a detailed connection, Stefan, that to be honest with you, I can't tell you because I don't deal with supplemental testosterone. I'm actually as a androgen hormone. It depends on also how you deliver it. Are you trying to take it orally? Are you doing it like by a patch or skin injection? And I'm not sure directly if even a hormonal specialist would be able to tell you how much would shut down the internal production of your testosterone. That's a pretty detailed question. I'm sorry I can't help you more. Okay, Dorothy found it very interesting. And she said she watches many webinars, but not too often the subject of men's health come up. I know Prairie is really trying to get the awareness out there. We're very happy to have joined with Healthy Planet, and of course with Trevor Linden. Please look in your area. You'll probably see some TV ads or little spots come out over the next month because of course November is Men's Health Awareness Month. This question is, can testosterone be checked while doing regular blood tests? A doctor could add the test on, but they often don't do free testosterone. Some of them can't even or won't recommend it. So sometimes you need to go to saliva testing. You can always start there. With regular blood work, they can add that on and ask them for free testosterone and the estradiol as well. No, I honestly do not like the idea of supplementing with even bioidentical hormones. Personally, I think estrogen and testosterone estrogen for males, estrogen for females and testosterone for males, pardon me, they're growth hormones, and definitely we want them in balance. But if the issue is free testosterone, you could give injections, and it's often done of testosterone, and then it gets converted into the bound form, and it's bound and or converted by aromatase enzyme or becomes dihydrotestosterone, and it's lowered. So it's not really getting at the issue. I would look at some of the lifestyle factors, take responsibility for the diet, and start to see if you can support your body naturally to produce its own. There might be some incidences where testosterone as an injection or patches is necessary, but I think it's often seen as the quick fix and not going to the longer route of taking care of your health. So a 31-year-old with low testosterone after doing blood work. which would be the best product to start with. Okay, so blood work often can't really give an ideal amount. If this person is really in trouble with their with what the blood work is showing, I would go to a hormonal specialist, and usually every city has one or two clinics where they deal with hormones. And I would also make sure you have some saliva testing in there. But as far as a product to start with, to me, my go-to is the Prosforce. And then at this particular age, if you work with Prosforce first, and then again look at what the issue is. Is there poor quality sleep? Are you on night shifts? Are you ruminating? Do you have a lot of stress in your life? And then is it chronic? Do you take a B vitamin? If you don't, I would add Stress Force or Androforce. So Androforce or Stress Force along with Prosforce is probably where I would start. And just take a look at that first before you move too far into adding a whole bunch and then not knowing what's working. Okay, so I'm in the Q&A, but I can see there's quite a bit of chat. Let's just go. A lot of people are thanking. So whenever somebody's asking, do these products interfere with prescriptions for angina and blood pressure? Whenever you're on cardiac medication, you absolutely have to consult with either your health practitioner or one that understands, like a naturopath that also does cardiovascular and sex health, hormonal health. So you might have to go to one of these hormonal health specialists. Also, most all meds for blood pressure reduce magnesium, B6, and zinc. So these nutrients are nutrient depletions by the prescription. So make sure that you're taking a multivitamin as a base and then getting magnesium, B6, and zinc in. Right. I think I've answered some of these questions as I talked about free testosterone and how often, even if you're taking it, it gets bound. So you have to use these like the pygium stinging nettle and salpimento to support your body in keeping that testosterone free. That would be my best. Okay, so there's a lot of thank yous in here, but not seeing any more questions. All righty. Well, I'd like to thank you very much. We've gone a bit over because there's been such enthusiasm with questions. I hope that's been helpful for you. And on behalf of Prairie Naturals, I'd like to thank you for joining. And I'm hoping that Prairie will take a look at that question about the discrepancy between their literature and their website. So thank you again. Good night, everyone.